forgot. We're streaming. Wait, I gotta unhost somebody. Alright. Alright. I don't know what I'm doing. I never know what I'm doing. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. Alright, so we should be live on Twitch. I am. When do you... Alright, good deal. Alright, I'm having a conversation with Peter Bradley. He started in on the layout of another book where the spacing issue that we just talked about, Chuck, is he's wrestling with. And he told me to not hate Google so much. He said what did he say? So filled with hate leads to the dark side. But I certainly do dislike that company, Google. It is not on my favorite company list. I do not use Google. Maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. All right, so I guess we should let Tim know. I think he's going to try to get on, but we are here for a special GM's Tricks of the Trade on Friday at 4 o'clock. Hold on. No one is expecting me to be streaming this late in the day on a Friday, so I'm letting everybody know what's going on. All right. So, yeah, we're doing GM's Tricks of the Trade number 160? Number 60, not 160. That'd be quite a bit of tricks. How's it going, Commander Pete? And we're talking about RPGs that influenced, actually not even RPGs, supplements that influenced my early gaming and carried over into the publishing side of things. I think a few may be a little bit surprising. Some are going to be expected, I think, but some may be a little surprising. A very interesting, a very long history of gaming I have. Peter just sent me some Yoda stuff, so I've got Yoda in my head now. It's not technically Yoda. It's the little bitty Yoda guy from from Mandalorian. I've only watched like episode 1 of Mandalorian, so I haven't kept up with what's going on in the Star Wars universe. But I don't think he's Yoda, right? He's not. I think he's somebody else. I think he's some other. I don't even know what species Yoda is. Man. All good, settled down with a good whiskey and looking forward to the stream. There you go. I've only got my water at the moment. I have Dr. Pepper here very soon. Steve, make sure you're in Discord. What? You want me to log on to Discord? What? I'm never in Discord. Hold on. I'll get in Discord. Alright, it's firing up. I didn't know I was supposed to be in Discord for these crazy streams. Alright, let me close that. Alright. Streamer mode is enabled. Stay safe. Stay safe, friend. What the devil? I don't really like this technologically inclined world. There's too much going on that I don't have control over. I think I need a plow and a mule. Okay. How's it going, Epi? I don't know what's going on. I've got Discord up going. Is that all you need, Chuck? If that's all you need, that's what I've done. All right. Yeah, so I think we were talking about that little Yoda guy. I don't know the name. Does he have a name? The little baby Yoda? Peter Bradley, our artist, was graphic designer or whatever, was sending us stuff over. Horse buggy and a good barn raising. There you go. Yeah. I was telling my wife the other day it might be time to join the Amish community. Let's call it a day. Go back to, I'm not sure when they cut off. That's 1878. I'm not sure when they, what year was the last year that they will accept technological inventions. I don't think they have buttons, though. I can't remember. Maybe that's the Mennonites. I can't remember. They probably wouldn't accept me, though. They would probably talk, wait, no Dr. Pepper. Man, that might not be, that might not be worth it. That might not work for me. Yeah. All right, so as everybody knows, we've moved the Tricks of the Trade to Friday. I had some running around the state of Arkansas to do, so we just kind of shuffled it back somewhat so that we could kind of stay on track, not get too far behind. I think we've got a couple of others that we don't that we haven't actually done a live stream on. Do you really want to live in a world without zippers? Man, I use button-up, what is it, 501? 501 button-ups. I don't want zippers anywhere near anything. It's just, not a fan of zippers. Give me a good old button. Or what are the little things called? Little toggles? Is that what? That look like a little wooden thing, a toggle that goes in the flap? I have no idea what I'm talking about. My seamstress abilities are negligible. Absolutely negligible at best. So I have sewed buttons on. I know I have done that, and I think I've darned 1 or 2 socks in the Army, and that was about it. All right, I'm gonna close Discord. I've lost my. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm not sure what I could do without. I like dental floss. I like flushing toilets are pretty cool. Whoever came up with that, hats off, man. Absolutely hats off. That's a wonderful thing. So, yeah, there's a few things in the modern world that I think we probably all take for granted and should appreciate a little more. But we are deep into the modern world today, that's for sure. I don't know what that is. I have absolutely no idea what that is. Can you all hear that? Okay. Not having a flushing. Yeah, it would be horrible, man. Thomas Crapper, is that who made it? Yeah, no, it would be absolutely horrible. I love the whole idea that the commode takes it all away. It just got to where it goes, but it goes far, far away, which is good. Which is good. My dad grew up on a farm in southern Arkansas back in the 1940s, and they had no money. They were literally the families who inherited 40 acres back in the 1880s. By the time my dad is born, 2 of the DeArmond brothers had joined their tracts of land, so they had 80 acres. And dirt poor farmers, that's all they were. They, subsistence farmers type things. They could grow 5 acres of cotton, I believe is what it was, and that was their folding money for the year. And they got shoes and whatnot, but he told me he didn't have his first toothbrush until he was 9, so that's how poor they were. But he told me some of the adventures they had with outhouses. So we should probably get up every day and just appreciate the running water and the flushing commode that we most of us have ready access to, even on airplanes and in trains. It's pretty amazing. So, appreciate the world, I suppose. I'm conducting the hype train, apparently. Here you go. How's it going, TM? Hey, Bloodwild, what's up? I don't know what that noise was. It just came in going whoo for 30 seconds? I have absolutely no idea. I have Discord open. Does Discord make weird noises at times? Couldn't tell you. Nope, no idea. At any rate, we are here for GM's Tricks of the Trade number 60, and we're talking about supplements that influenced me both as a game master and then as a publisher and whatnot from my earliest period. Just as a quick history for those who may not know, I started gaming in probably 1977, 76, 78, somewhere around in there. I want to say 77. We were definitely at Fort Campbell. So that would have been 76, 7, and 8. Or 7, 8, 9. I'll bet you it's 1977. Davis had been gaming for several years before. He got all of the books from my mother. One of my dad's soldiers was hardship touring to Korea. He had these little brown books. We've still got them around here somewhere. He gave them to my mom. She gave them to Davis for birthday or Christmas. I can't remember. And he started gaming a year and a half, 2 years before I did. And then I joined in on his game in the 70s. He and I gamed together at Fort Campbell for a couple of years. Those were really my, those are some of the craziest adventures. I still remember so many of those things because it was so new. Everything was so crazy new, of course. And in 79 or 80, I want to say it was 1980, I would have been 15, turning 15, we moved to Germany, to Heidelberg, Germany. And there Davis and I, though Davis obviously are still very close, we work together almost every day, but we split ways gaming wise. I created my own group, and he got this other group, and they, we started gaming. He gamed in another building than I gamed in, and at that point I started running games, and that's when I began to kind of shape my own, whatever body of literature that influenced the way I gamed. Obviously, Davis had a gigantic influence on the way I gamed, and then before that or after that, it's just these supplements that I would steal from him or borrow from him. He had a paper route and had money. I didn't have any money. So he would take his money. We'd go to Sears. He'd buy dice. And I remember buying the Monster Manual at Sears. And I remember buying the Folio. I think that was at Sears. But so he would buy these books. And he just bought any kind of gaming material he could get his hands on. And then I would just borrow it and take it. How's it going, Mad Matt? Ultra Magnus, how's it going? We got Nerd Chat tonight at 7 p.m. On the Discord channel with Epi. Do not miss that. It's lots of fun. I think Jason's joining us tonight. Jason Bay will be in there. How's it going, 20-sided? So we started gaming back in the 70s, and somewhere around 1980, I went off on my own, becoming my own game master, and things began to, there's certain books began to influence me on going forward. Game mastering. So to start it off, am I on GM's Tricks? No, I'm not even on the right panel. Good Lord. We're all idiots. All right. Here we go. All right. There we go. So diving into the first trick of the trade, and this really is not like tricks of the trade this week. It's just kind of talking about old books, old things. So the first thing that I put down, probably one of the most influential books on my on my list here is the 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜 Folio edition. It came out in 1980, I believe. It was just a fantastic little book. Thanks for joining us, 20-sided. I don't know if I welcome you to the board, and really everybody, thanks for joining us. We are here for GM's Tricks Trade number 60. We do this every Thursday normally, 4 to 5. This week we're doing it Friday because my schedule kind of got goofed up this week, zipping up and down the state of Arkansas, but so we just moved it back later in the week. Next week we'll be back at 4 o'clock, regular time, all that business. And this week we're actually not talking about tricks of the trade. We're actually talking about books that influenced me early on. Game books specifically that influenced me early on. I did not receive an email of tricks number 60. I find it odd. Well, now that is very odd. We'll have to bump Tim. It went out yesterday, I think. I was on the road, so I wasn't involved with all of that. But Tim normally sends those out. I hope it went out. It's going to make this whole thing kind of a little not pointless because we're all here. But okay, all right. Commander Pete got it, so it's somewhere out there. All right, 20th of August. So it maybe got caught in your spam. 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜. It's hard to say. I get so much spam these days I can't hardly keep up with it, and it seems to come in waves. I get waves of spam, and then the spam lightens up, and then I get waves of phone calls from money lenders, and then that lightens up, and then the spam comes back. I'm not sure kind of what messed up vortex I'm in of spam and crank calls or whatever they're called. Lord of mercy. At any rate, there should be a follow-up coming out at some point. So the first thing that I put on the list was the 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜 Folio edition. This set was a fantastic set. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it came in a I actually don't have my copies disintegrated and gone. I've got a little bit of it over here. But this came in a large folio, really a folder that was 14 inches tall, and inside of that were 2 maps and a little white booklet. And the outside of the folio had all of the heraldry of 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜, and it had on the back just kind of information, of course, and the overall maps. And I took that. Davis had purchased that, and I took that and owned it. He liked it, he enjoyed Greg, but he started creating his own world way before I started creating Aired. So he was kind of doing world design while I just plunged into 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜. And I became the 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜 nut in the house, and I ran 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜 campaigns from probably 1980 until about 2000. Until about 1996, something like that. But the campaigns morphed into kind of an Aired thing as I created the world of Aired. So I created the world of Aired while I was in the Army, so 91, 92, 93. And then when I got out of the Army and we got the group back together, we started doing Aired stuff, and I ported a lot of the game material that happens in Greyhawk into the adventures, the legends, the gods, stuff like that that I had created for Greyhawk went over. And one of the really cool things about the folio edition, and it's actually, that folio edition is what inspired, I had it here just the other day. Now I'm not going to be able to find it in this drawer of nightmares. That inspired. So one of the things that I loved about the Greyhawk Folio Edition, the booklet for Greyhawk was like 12 or 16 or 18 or 20 pages. It was very short. Each country was covered and given just who the ruler was, what their title was. The titles were all very cool. You know, the God Emperor, whatever. I can't remember any of it. The High King of Greyhawk. No, the High King of the Great Kingdom. Man, if I thought about it, it would all start pouring back into my noodle space. But, so it just had a little bit of information, just a teasing amount of information, so that enough to get started, and then fuel your imagination so that you could go. And I took Greyhawk and I just exploded, creating mythos for it, backgrounds, histories. You know, we created time charts and went forward. So Greyhawk became this huge instrumental. The Folio Edition became this huge instrument at my table that had morphed way beyond what the original creators had put into it. Which just really fueling my imagination is really the best way to put it. That original book, just absolutely fantastic. Just enough to get you started and playing. And what's cool about it, so these are going to be, man, this is going to be hard to open. These are the original maps from the 1980 version. I had them laminated, Lord knows when, at some point. The Overking of the Great Kingdom, yes. And it's just when you... Darlene's art... These things are stiff. Darlene's art, can you see all that? It's just absolutely fantastic. We moved, you can see where I made notes on here. Just, we were all over these maps. And there's something about... there was always... The maps themselves, and it's hard to quantify, the maps themselves have this simplistic quality to it that allows your imagination to just, it almost encourages your imagination to fill in the gaps. When you look at the Kingdom of Keelland and the Duchy of Sterrick, there's no real border drawn, but there's a border drawn. I mean, you can see it easily enough, you can play through it easily enough. It's just really great stuff. The Folio Edition, if you can get a hold of it, I strongly recommend it. Even a PDF, I think you'll appreciate the brevity, and sometimes brevity is really important. It played into the first, or the second, I guess, book I wrote. The first would have been Mortality of Grain. I don't know if you can see that. This is the Winter Dark, after winter campaign, or a fantasy campaign setting. And this is kind of styled almost exactly like a Greyhawk. 2 pages of history, some calendars, and then I dive into the gods and then the descriptions of the countries, and it's all very brief. This was one of our original publications from the year 2000, and it was what, of course, led to the World of Erd and the Codexes of Erd and all of that material that we've put out afterwards. And a lot of that inspiration for that comes from the Folio Edition. So hats off to Greyhawk, hats off to Gary Gygax and the crew, and Darlene, who made all of that stuff. Just fantastic stuff. Really was just a great way to fuel the imagination. Let's see, did I miss anything in here? Best world map ever. Yeah, there's just something about Darlene's map. I never did get around to, let's see, yes, it is an extraordinarily, I got it yesterday, the email. It's an extraordinarily great set, beautiful maps, and I wish I had gotten Darlene to do the World of Erd in a similar fashion. We did get her to do the Haunted Highlands from Casey Gustafson, which is very cool. I have a copy on my shelf right now. It is a beautiful piece of work. It really is. And even the outside of the folio is inspirational, because when you're looking at it and you see all of the heraldry, which lines, you can't really see it in this picture over here on the panel, but which lines the side of the title and the artwork and all that. Everything about it is just, it just inspires you. It gives you, I don't know, it's just very, very cool stuff. And yeah, it is best world map ever. Greyhawk really just, I can't say enough great stuff about Greyhawk. We probably played 2 to 3 times a week in those days in the 80s, and probably some of those games ran 8-10 hours. I would literally clock out of work at 11 o'clock. People would be at my apartment, and we'd start gaming. We'd game till 6 in the morning, and Greyhawk those were our stomping grounds. Definitely, if you get a chance, pick it up, check it out. It's great. It's absolutely great stuff. How's it going, Green Lantern? Hey, hi, Jinx. What's up, man? Yep, over King of the Great Kingdom. I don't have that book. I don't even know where my book is anymore. I looked for it earlier. I found a whole bunch of my early D&D, AD&D stuff. I can't find my folio edition other than these maps. It's crazy. You know what? I'll bet you it's in the box. The After the Ashes box. I'll bet you I stuck it in there because the folio probably had disintegrated at some point. Let's see. One map that struck me during my youth was the Waterdeep map, I think, that a friend of mine had. It had many sheets that fitted together to make a colossal city. Yeah, Waterdeep was badass. There was also there was another underground, there was another huge dungeon that they did too. It was just really cool. The Castle Zagging map is just as beautiful. That's right, I forgot all about that. I forgot, we had the Zagging map. Darlene came out of retirement to do the Zagging map as well. I may ping her. We talk every now and again. I'll ping her again and see if she's interested in doing the World of Erd in that fashion. It's just absolutely... Her art, I mean, her mapping is just something. Oh, good Lord. That's a lot of Forgotten Realms. That's badass. Her art is just something else. She's a very kind person. She's just one of those very kind people. If you ever had a chance to talk to Darlene, or if you ever get a chance to talk to Darlene, crazy kind person, just a lovely human. Definitely take a few moments and say hello. The heraldry is just through the roof. Have you seen Anna Meyer's updated Greyhawk maps in heraldry? I have not. I need to check that out. I absolutely love Greyhawk stuff. I would love to see Wizards of the Coast take a step back and return Greyhawk to the, where it needs to be. It really, just setting all the other stuff aside, it's really a great campaign setting. It has everything you need in it to get started without so much backstory that it's going to force you to game in any one style or the other. It's one of the major inspirations that went into the Codex of Erd when I wrote it. The big version, even though it doesn't enjoy the brevity that the folio edition did, I worked very hard to make sure that you as a game master or a player aren't steamrollered by the world itself, forcing you to do this or forcing you to do that or forcing you to do this. You should be able to take your C&C game or D&D game or whatever game is you play right into the world of Erd and go. That was one of my major things, and that's definitely what Greyhawk did, and definitely the folio edition is that on crack, without a doubt. Are you playing in a campaign now? I'm running a game. It's in the world of Erd, my own world. I'm not running a Greyhawk campaign. Chris started, one of our other GMs. He started playing a Greyhawk campaign, Castles and Crusades, of course, and it was crazy weird because we hadn't played in Greyhawk in like a decade at least, quite a while, and going back to Greyhawk was like going back to an old neighborhood. It's, you'd forgotten the cities and the towns and the rivers and the countries, but as soon as they start, the DM starts rattling off, GM starts rattling off what's going on, you're like, oh yeah, awesome, yes, awesome. And you just slip right back into youth. It's absolutely fantastic. Hey, Decimus, how's it going? Darlene World of Erd, Matt, shut up and yeah, dude, I talked to her once a couple of years ago. I'll shoot her an email after this stream. I haven't talked to her in a few months. We had a conversation about something not long ago. But we'll see. We'll see. I know that she is semi-retired, if not retired. So her art days may be done. But we'll see what she says. Did you play in the Living Grad campaign that RPG with Ghost did? I did not. I never did. It always sounded really, really cool. And I remember when we were very young, Davis, he played in... the Hyborian by mail. He did that in the 1970s and 80s. He played Hyboria by mail. And it always fascinated me, these living campaign type things. But I never got into the Greyhawk stuff. Greyhawk is really, it's funny because it's got such a legendary thing about it, and older gamers like ourselves, we love it so that it's difficult for us. You can easily spoil something by saying how good it is too much. People are going to be, yeah, it's not that good. I'm not, whatever. You're just whatever. But Greyhawk really is that. Greyhawk's like Alien. It's just, Alien is a good movie. Greyhawk's a good campaign setting. You just can't, time isn't going to change that. You know what I mean? It's not the VTT and the new mapping cartography software and all that stuff isn't going to make Greyhawk any less of what it was. because it was such a good piece of art, and it was such a succinct, inspirational piece of writing that you can't really take Greyhawk out of the mix. You shouldn't, and that's, I think, much to Wizards of the Coast's detriment. They have, and they should not. They should never have shifted off of it. It's a fantastic setting. It is simple and smooth. I can't say enough good stuff about Greyhawk. I just can't. I could find, issues with all kinds of stuff, but Greyhawk the Folio Edition, I cannot. Now, I never played much in the Beyond the Ashes because, I think that's what it's called, Beyond the Ashes, because I had already developed my timeline 30 years beyond the year 576, so there was no, the Beyond the Ashes, From the Ashes, whatever it is, it just interrupted my time frame, so I never used it. There was a little bit I used from it, some of the God stuff or whatever, but by and large, I stuck with the Folio Edition until I think the folder disintegrated. I'm going to try to find that, because I haven't seen it in years. But my maps survived only because of laminate. The Perrin Lands, the Wolf Nomads. Oh man, this stuff is so awesome. The Vesvi, the Highfold, Valunia, Kingdom of Furrendy, Shield Lands. Oh man. I could wax nostalgic about Greyhawk. But let us move on to the second big influence in my gaming career. Which one did I put? I had trouble kind of listing which ones should go where, because this stuff really it impacted me when I was young, when I was like 10, 12, 14, 15 years old. And those are kind of formative years for any of us Homo sapiens, so you get, things just stick. It's where your brain starts formulating, I suppose. Wizards of the Coast lost for not supporting great settings in their back catalog. Yeah, it's just strange. It's always been strange to me. Forgotten Realms is great. They've got other great settings. I can't remember the more modern ones. But Greyhawk actually has, it's like Minecraft. You can't, if you've ever looked at or played Minecraft, you can't look at that and not think, oh, wow, there's so much I can do here, right? There's so much you can do in Minecraft. It's absolutely stupefying. And the more you play it, the more you realize there's more you can do. And that's Greyhawk. Greyhawk is the Minecraft of the 1970s, 1980s. There's just, it's just crazy. I don't understand why they let it drop by the wayside. I wish I'd grabbed Castle Zagat, 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤, etc. when I had the chance. Pretty pricey. Yeah, they're crazy pricey now. And that, I had forgotten, that Castle Zagat map. There's a tiny chance it's right here. Nope. So here's my Castle Zagat 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤, but the map is, God knows where the map is. Yeah, it has meandered on. What's cool about this, we had some guy, big fan of the company years and years ago, did some kind of, I don't know much about the super high advanced printers, but the ones that print, 1,000 dots per whatever thing. And he made these giant poster boards of the World of Aird and Castle Zagat map. They're down in the warehouse somewhere, jammed in a map too. They need to be framed and put up somewhere. I don't know, something. And I absolutely love it. And it is the 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤. I need to get those in. I bought World of Aird maps and put them in a scroll-type frames I bought on Amazon. They are wood with magnets, and they stick together, holding posters in place. The cool thing is you can roll them up like a scroll. All of my maps are scrolls. It's the best way, if you buy the codex, you get it folded up, and which is great. You can lay it down and all that stuff, but the folds crease, and it's not, you can actually, I don't know if you can see it, because these came in a folio edition. Let's see if I can get really close. I don't know if you can see. You can't because of the laminate. Oh, there you go. You can see right across the Duchy of 10. You can see the creases. They're still here, 40 years later. But we do sell, for the World of Aird, we actually sell tubed maps where you get it all, where it's rolled and it'll lay flat, and you can put it in a frame and it looks fantastic. Did I say scrolls enough? Keep on about your scrolls. I have several Aird maps. Yeah, Commander, next time you put in a big order, because I know you're overseas, you're not overseas for you, you're right at home, but overseas from the Troll Lords, order the tubes, because it's like I said, it's nice roll, and it'll get to you in one piece. It's very cool. All right, well, let's dive into number 2 here. So what do we do? So yeah, like I said, I had kind of some trouble picking the order of these things, because these things left impressions on me. So these 2 little books, The Misty Isles and Dwarven Glory, and unlike the folio, I have, damn camera, I have the originals of these. These things were put out by a company called 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤𝐬. They only put, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 things out. Not very much. But there's some, Davis, and I never ran these, actually. Davis ran me through these pre-me taking over. So sometime in 78 or 79, Davis ran me through the Misty Isles and Dwarven Glory. And I don't know what it is that he did and that these things brought to the table. They're very simple. There's no, I mean, there's a little background, but like one paragraph. And then when you get into, let me just read to you, Area 21 on the map. A band of 35 first-level priests, all are trained monks, seeking to reach the city of King Armon to gain his help in the trouble they are having on their island. That's pretty much all that's in here. It's just little bitty things. It's not terribly deep. Now, that's Misty Isles. That's a little bit more involved than Dwarven Glory is. Like Dwarven Glory, mold thickly on ceiling. Gem was tree etched on surface. Allows telepathic communication with plants. It's just cool stuff. But one of the major things that inspired me on these guys is the artwork. When I could stare at this art, I love that guy right there. I could stare at that. I think that's called hetch something. I can't remember. Cross hatching? I don't know. But there's something about the art that's just crazy inspirational. There's so much going on, and it's so real. There's no real fan. When you look at it, he's just sitting on a trunk, and he's got boots on and a helmet. There's no oversized weaponry, or any of that stuff. The other guy's pouring mead on his head. The others are laughing as they sit and celebrate, the conquest of this gigantic treasure hoard. And once you're in it, once you're doing the Isles, each of the islands, Davis played them like they were other planar stuff. Each island that you went to was kind of a different plane. And he wove it into other adventures that we were doing. I was running my character Kane in those days. And Kane was this crazy fighter that just feared nothing and kind of very, very loosely based on the concepts of 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤𝐬 and 𝐓𝐫𝐿RIC and the Eternal Champions. But not even that, more probably based on the character Kane from Wagner's books. Not Wagner's, but Wagner's books. I'm not sure Wagner actually wrote about Kane. He may have, I don't know. Not being a composer specialist. But, so Davis ran these adventures that just left this mark, that left this kind of idea in my head that this game goes way beyond way beyond the limits of what we normally think of in the physical world. It goes into the metaphysical. It goes just, you could step into it. And I honestly can't remember where I got the machine gun. My memory tells me that I picked it up in Dwarven Glory or on the Misty Isles, but I remember that my character ran into 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜𝐿 on one of them, and we got into an argument, and I shot 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜𝐿 with my machine gun. Now I only had 3 rounds in the drum, and I hit 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐜𝐿 a few times, I guess, and then I got killed. But it was so surreal and so otherworldly and so beyond the other stuff that we had done. That these 2 books, Davis took these books, and he created this kind of, I don't know, and these were the instruments that made me understand the game is way beyond whatever we're thinking. Which, of course, brings me into the way I designed Aired, the way I started, because shortly after that, I'm running games, and that stuff comes into my world as well almost immediately because I've got that resonating behind. I don't know where Davis got it. I have no idea. He read voraciously much earlier than I did. I mean, he just read voraciously, all kinds of stuff. And unlike me, I still tend to do this. I would get subject-oriented and read this or whatever. Davis does it, man. Davis will read anything. It's like, I don't know, he's all over the place. If something, he can be sitting there, and if he sees a book, he'll pick it up and just read it. So he's got this huge, mess of information. So God knows where he got it. Probably, if I was to guess, it would probably be the 𝐓𝐿RIC stuff, because he was deep into all of Moorcock's books. Who's the brass guy? There's a brass one. There's the Eternal Champion is the first one, and then 𝐓𝐿RIC, of course, and then 𝐓𝐶𝐞. Not Brass Halls. That's from the World of Air. Something of brass. You guys know what I'm talking about. Whatever it is. You know, Grape X, we're not raffling that off. No, getting rid of my Dwarven Glory. Let's see, what did I miss here? As the ones who made the Palace. Yeah, I think they did the Palace Queen. I can't remember. I think one of these has actually got a product list somewhere in it. Yeah, so what do we got here? They got a Palace of the Vampire Queen. Yep, you are dead on. Dwarven Glory and Misty Isles. And then Game Designer's Kit, Dungeon Master Kit, Flags of Chaos. 25mm sticky back flags for miniatures. Oh, that's interesting. A multi-hex planning pad, the village, paper. There's your paper buildings. Hey, Tom, tell us. Endless dungeons, 3-dimensional dungeon walls of paper. Oh, that's very cool. Dog tags, World War II infantry squad action, man to man. Oh, that's badass. So, yeah, We Warriors was really a good little company. They put a lot of little stuff. I don't know if all of those actually came out. And I can't remember what happened to them. I want to say there was some kind of legal issue and they ended up losing that fight and going down. But I'm not sure. Maybe a couple of pallets of Dr. Pepper. This guy's got actual memories for me. And the one I'm going to bring up next has even more. But there's just something about these two little books. The art really was spectacular. The maps was very cool. And then the way Davis ran it just, absolutely fueled my imagination like crazy. So, and that leaves, can I get a physical address on that location just a minute? Yeah, there you go. Dorian Hawkmoon and Count Brass, that's what I was thinking of. I knew it was somewhere, Brass or something in there. I never read the Hawkmoon stuff. I read Elric and I read Eternal Champion and I read Corum. Corum's my favorite of them all, but I never did do the Hawkmoon. I really, really need to dive into that. What? My address? Go! What is that, the Little Rock Jail? There you go. What's the address of Dr. Pepper Distributor? There you go. Man, I wish I had a Dr. Pepper distributor. I did stock up something fierce last week. So this next one, so I can hardly show you this because it has literally disintegrated. That's the cover. That's the back cover. This would be page 2 in the end. So it's seen its better days. And of course, as we've talked many times before on this stream, back in the 1970s into the 1980s, no one was a collector. We were gamers or comic book readers or whatever. Very few people were collecting things. We used them. There was no Mylar bags that I know of anyways. It was just, you buy it and you play it. So this is Welcome to Skull Tower. It's the second book in the 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐝 series. I'm sure Davis had the other books, but much like Dwarven Glory and the Misty Isles, I took this from him. And this became, when I would go to anyone's house to game, this was in with my DMG, the DM's Guide, and my Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, and my giant ream of notes. All right, next to it was Welcome to Skull Tower. It's out by 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐝. Great art on the cover. And this book, it's very hard to describe this book. Font's tiny, but it's absolutely filled with these weird little additives, support material, supplemental material, charts, things. All of it just, and they take you in directions that in those days, back in the 70s and early 80s, that we weren't really, all of us weren't thinking, we're just looting and killing and looting and killing, kill loot, as Davis describes the game. But this took it away from that. This started breaking into, here's a magic item price list multiversal trading company. The art is just, it's an Arrow Lotus, I'll be damned. Now, the art's just absolutely fantastic. And it's just filled with all kinds of stuff. Cool monsters, cool charts, just cool stuff. And what that did when I started using the 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐝, especially the critical hit tables, when I started using 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐝, it just really enhanced the game that I was running in a major way. Absolutely loved it. Trying to find that stupid critical hit list. I used that. That's not it. Wounds caused by two-handed weapons. That's pretty cool. I don't want to. There's some crimes and punishment. Very cool. So it has a TOC. I think the TOC's in the back. There's weird stuff going on in this. But this thing really did. Yeah, there we are. The TOC is on the back cover for those of you who don't know. That's a great way of putting it, Vic Danger. It is a stream of consciousness supplement. It's just like this collection of stuff that's just there, and you don't even know why it's there, but when you're reading it, you're going, holy crap, this is really cool, this is very useful. And this stuff, and I can tell you now, these books were reprinted a few years back. Go get yourself a copy. This will go, whether you're playing CNC, D&D 5e, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Swords and Wizardry, it doesn't matter what game you're playing. Top secret, a lot of these charts are just going to carry over, and you're good. And some of it you have to tweak maybe a little bit, but not really. Just really, really good stuff. Let's see if I can find that. Blah, 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 blah. Weapons breakage chart. That's a huge thing I do in my game. That must come from 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬. I never really thought of where that came from, but I will guarantee you it comes from this because I use that so much. And I talk all the time on these streams about breaking equipment, destroying weapons, and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't find it. It's somewhere in here. They got this absolutely fantastic critical hit chart where you're blowing people's eyeballs out and chopping off limbs. And I'm honestly surprised the book doesn't open to that chart, because in this book specifically, that's going to be what I used the absolute most. I'm still looking for it. Damn it. Just wanted to read you guys a couple of samples of it, for those of you who don't have the book. But it's Welcome to Skull Tower. If you get a chance, scoop it up. I'm sure it's on Drive-Thru RPG. I'm not even sure who owns this anymore. Yeah, here we go. So you roll a percentile for your critical hits here. If you roll a 0-1 or a 0-2, your forehead, brain penetrated, instant death. You get heart torn out, instant death, both eyes torn out. Skull crushed, entire head pulped. I mean, it just goes on. Genitals torn off, guts torn out, ear torn off. It's just, yeah, exactly, Blood Wild. It's just awesome. And back in 78, when this comes out, or 79, or whatever it is, there's nothing like that out there. We're used to it now, but in those days we weren't. And so that, when I'm looking at charts like that in 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬, and specifically this supplement, it's just fueling my imagination. And it's funny, things like that, weapons breakage, we probably have just stumbled on where my lust and love of destroying equipment comes from. It probably belongs to Dave Hargrave, who wrote Welcome to Skull Tower. So thank you, Dave, for all of that. Years and years of fantastic planning. We should amble on to number 4. As always, thank you all for showing up today. If you have not, please give us a follow. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, just throw them there in the feed. We'll all tackle them. Though, like I said, we're not really doing tricks of the trade. This time we're kind of walking down memory lane. So now this one might be before, if you take out a book, and I didn't put any of TLG's publications in here because those come up later. But this book, next to either the Gary Gygax's World Builder or Gary Gygax's Book of Names, is probably the most used supplement at my table of all time. The only reason it's not at my table now is Davis took my copy up to the mountains where he lives, and I'm pretty sure it's his copy anyways. I think I took it from him, so so it's not like I don't, I think it just, whatever. It went back home. But this is a Palladium book, the Compendium of Weapons, Armor, and Castles, and it is a fantastic book. The art's really great. Everything. Yeah, exactly. That's what we do. And we shared rooms till I was like 15, so we were in the same room together. Many of my influences come from Davis, without a doubt. But, all right, are we doing a giveaway? I didn't know we were doing a giveaway. $20 giveaway, 2 copies of the Aired Maps, $19.99. Coincidence? There you go. But so the Compendium is a fantastic book. I think it's still in print. If you can get a hold of it, get a hold of it. It's really cool. It's like 200 pages or 180 pages, some shit like that. And it's just filled with weapons. It's filled with armor. It's filled with great illustrations, and it's got great castles. It'll give you a great idea of what castles. It actually has. I have been thinking about this book so much lately that I pinged Peter Bradley, our main artist, graphic guy, I don't know, 2 months ago, and said, I want to do a castles book. I don't care how many castles books that are out there, and he loves castles. Of course, he's living in Europe right now, in the United Kingdom, and we're going to start doing this. He's already started drawing them, and I'm feeding him castles that I want in there. I'm reading some castle history now, and there's stuff I want in there, and a lot of the inspirations comes from the Compendium of Wagons, Armor, and Castles, because it's got just so much information in it, and then the information is complemented by these beautiful pictures and illustrations with diagrams that show you, like there's a picture of some samurai armor in there that points to what each item is on the armor. It's just really great stuff. It's very informative stuff. And as you evolve as a GM, and this is one thing we've stressed here in GM Tricks of the Trade all the time, do it for Steve sounds not. What did I do? We need castles. Yeah, it's the castles is coming. But when you have the proper illustrations as a GM, it helps kind of fuel that fire because you can see it. And even if you don't use it to show the illustration to your players, you now can describe it because you kind of have an idea of what it's like. When you get into really technical descriptions, like I can't remember I don't have the book with me that I'm reading. It's the history of, or it's the very popular Life in a Castle by Francois Guise, Joseph, whoever. When you're reading some of the technical descriptions, you're like, what the is he talking about? I don't know what a percolating mashal or whatever French word is. So you kind of have to go look it up, right? But if you have the appropriate illustrations there, then you're golden because suddenly whatever descriptive stuff it takes on meaning, and now you can envision it as a GM and you can kind of recast it when you're describing it to your players to the table. And that's what that book, A Compendium of Weapons, Armor, and Castles does. Definitely check it out if you can. But for me, it opened me up the idea to the number of weapons beyond the sword and axe, shield, and helm, to the number of weapons, the types of weapons, what they were used for, what they weren't used for, just an absolute stunning. Now, it's very Western. There's very little Eastern material in there, but that's okay. It doesn't take away from it, and it certainly doesn't take away from its impact on me as a game master and a gamer, without a doubt. And we've done our own Arms and Armor book at Trollord Games, but it obviously doesn't have castles, so it doesn't have that. And it's still very good. It still isn't half as long as this thing is. I think ours is 54 pages, and this sucker was 200 pages. So the amount of information jammed in here is absolutely, it's stupefying. Get it if you can. Thank you for the subscription, Lord 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬. Very, very much appreciated. So, yeah, we definitely are going to get Castle's book. It's something Peter and I want to do anyways. I have a huge passion for history. And I love castles, and so does he, and he loves drawing them. And my intent with this book is it's going to have lots of illustrations in it. Like, so now I'm going to get the terminology mixed up. You guys can correct me where I'm wrong. So the battlement, you have the Merlin. So you have the Merlin and the crenel. Is that what that's called? So you have the upper part is the Merlin, I think, and those are crenellated battlements. But the crenel, that's the right word, is the part between the Merlins. I want an illustration in there that explains that, so that when the GM is describing this or a writer is using it, that information is readily available, and it's clear the arrows are pointing here, pointing there, and telling you what the appropriate terminology for this appropriate defensive feature was in these castles. There's a lot of that language is lost when we're just doodling and doing stuff up, and it'd be cool to have it back out there. So that's number 4. Holy crap, somehow we got to number 4 all the way to number 5. That's absolutely amazing. Very little digression this time. So this is, and I have to say, without a doubt, the most influential book in my gaming past. And there's 2 reasons for this, probably multiple, but 2 reasons. One is the way Davis ran it when he first ran me through it. And so this comes out in 79. Yeah, that looks about right. I was thinking 80, but yeah, I heard that. I mean, the illustrations are crazy, and to know the terminology is what drives me. I do a lot of writing, and I'm breaking into fiction more and more, and I don't know what some of these things are called, and I got to go look it up. And if the architect or historian or whoever is too technical, I got to piece it together. It's frustrating. But so the Village of Hamlet, which is adventure module, right through me. There you go. Is that what I said? This is, I think, the best piece of gaming material ever written. I really do. I do include all of it. It's, oh man, an illustrated storyteller's dictionary would be awesome. Expensive to do, but very awesome. Those giant damn frogs. Many of my characters died by those frogs. The Palladium books were white covers with a single color image. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the one I've had is blue forever. But that's very cool. So Davis ran this for me. Now, I actually found, while I was looking for the folio edition, I found Davis's original copy. So there's no way I can do this without killing the book. So for those of you who don't know, Village of Hamlet was published in 1979, and it basically is a village called Hamlet that has a moat house near it, with the ruins of a moat house, and then it's got this unfinished tower that this knight and wizard are building, and then it's got a tavern/inn, and then all of these interesting characters are in. Each of the village houses is drawn, though not mapped, but you can see it. They're beautifully illustrated in this. It's so funny because my mind fleshes these things out so much more than they're actually fleshed out in their original incarnation. But so you've got all of each house is labeled, who lives there and what it is, and then you can go to the book itself and find out who that person is, and they give you just a little bit of adventure tease. And what the Village Hamlet does is it doesn't really give you this overall arching story. It gives you a village and the people that live in it, and a little bit of hints of evil that is around the village, or maybe a greater evil beyond. Because they eventually will finish T1 and do T2, 3, and 4. But in this book, when it comes out, and the rest didn't come out for years, this is just a standalone. So essentially, this is the same thing as the Folio edition. It is a beautifully crafted setting that you're going to walk your characters into, and there's just enough action and adventure there to whet your appetites and get you going into the next level or whatever the DM creates for you, and simultaneously has an absolute host of NPCs that the GM can begin to unravel, expand, create, do all kinds of stuff with. And that makes for it, again, more fuel for the GM's imagination, which allows them to go in whichever direction they want, and the players to follow suit. And then the players can guide the narrative as they do this or they do that. But I believe we're doing the raffle. We've already launched the raffle, so you need to type in !raffle to have your name entered. And then Chuck will pull it out of the hat. I believe we're doing the tube maps of the World of Air. So, in typical Davis fashion, because he's extraordinarily detail-oriented, I'm going to try to get, without destroying, you can see, nope, he's got notes everywhere, on every page. So he took this, so this is Davis in 1979, he took this and he made his own storylines with each of these NPCs, and there's 40 or 50 NPCs in here. It's on every page. He's got just little bitty notes that these people are doing or not doing. So the two ways that this impacted and influenced me as both a game designer and, more importantly, as a gamer, as a GM, is it created this setting, this very tiny setting in which I could do whatever I wanted. I've run the Village of Hamlet probably 10 times, 3 or 4 times, successfully carrying those characters on for many levels. To do other things. But it started in or it passed through the Village of Hamlet because it's that adaptable to whatever you're doing. High level, low level, doesn't matter. The moat house is still there. You might have to bump up some monsters, but it's just, it's that good. It really has, it's that inspirational. And then the other side to that coin, to the beautifully crafted setting, is the way Davis ran it for me when I was just playing before I began running things, and it was just cool. It was so much going on, I couldn't keep up with it. We played in Hamlet for hours and hours and hours and hours as I tried to unravel whatever mysteries and things that Davis had created. Some of them important, some of them not. Some of them just distractions or red herrings or whatever you call it. It's just good stuff. So the Village of Hamlet ends up definitely landing on my list as the most influential piece of gaming literature in my history. And if you haven't played it or ran it, like all of these things, I strongly recommend. And of all of them, I would get this more than any of them because it'll show you really, if you're writing, it'll show you how to do stuff. And if you're designing, it'll show you how to do stuff. It's just good all the way around. All right, I'm getting strange Skypes over here, but none of them from Chuck, so we're all good. All right. I actually used that for my very first CCVTT game like 6 or 7 years ago. So, yeah, it's cool. There, you can't beat the Village of Hamlet. B1 I also really, really liked, but primarily because there was no monsters listed in B1. It was just an environment in which I could go in and change it. So every time we played in it, it could be different. Very, very good stuff. I've used T1 and CNC rules so smooth to convert and took us right back to it. Yeah, and that's what T1 will do. I absolutely love T1. Man, I've played it once with Castles and Crusades. It was the first adventure I ever ran. Very cool. So many of those early modules did make good springboards for DMs to expand upon. T1 is... That's a great way of putting it, Grendel. That's a great way of putting it. They were springboards. They really weren't here to teach you to discuss the minutia of everything. It's just go. Here's your info. I actually tried to do this when I did Ruins of Innsmouth for Amazing Adventures 5e. I tried to follow that trick. I wrote the town, and it's just that, and I just put some personalities in it and places in it, and that was it. And it's up to the GM to figure out what they're going to do with it. That's another great one. Weirdly, DM Chuck and I were just talking about Secret of Bone Hill before the stream. Secret of Bone Hill was a very good adventure. That was a very, very good one. Absolutely loved Bone Hill. It's probably my top 10, I would say. Bone Hill's just very, very good. Yeah, there you go, Chuck. 2 minutes left. All right, so I think we're doing a raffle. Real quick, everybody, thank you for showing up today. Village of Hamlet wraps us up in our memory lane here and books that influenced me, and hopefully you can if you haven't, go pick them up. They can do the same for you. Next week we'll have regular GM's Tricks of the Trade. We'll be on at 4 to 5. We've got Epi is doing 7 o'clock Troll Nerd Chat tonight on the Discord, so definitely check that out. And I will be here for Ask Me Anything on 4 o'clock Tuesday. And then we got the painting. I can never remember what we're calling that show. The painting show, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And Chuck will have a game tomorrow, right? Today's Friday. Yeah, Chuck's game is tomorrow at 10. Lots of stuff going on. Check the schedule, check the menu. Please join us, give us your support, give us a follow, spread the word. We sure appreciate it. Yeah, like L1, these modules remain classics because the DMs and players have a lot of... That's exactly it. They do. They can do whatever they want. And you can go back to it because of that time and time again. A lot of our modules fall into the other category. You take Mortality of Green, the first one I wrote. Once you're done running that adventure, you're done. You've rescued the sapling. There's setting now that you can play in, but not really. I mean, it's... Just might as well go to the Book of Air to do that. But the Village of Hamlet's not that way. You can play in the Village of Hamlet at first level, and you can leave it, and you can come back at fourth level, and those same people, the same weaver is going to be there, and the DM can just take it, retool it, and go again. There's absolutely no reason to do that. Raffle entries have ended. A winner is being picked. All right, I think we're going to wrap up with this thing. Okay, he's grabbing the winner. Don't know what that means. First, I thought he said he was grabbing some barbecue. I got a little bit confused, but that was pretty awesome. So Epi has won the tubes of aired maps. Very cool. Congratulations, Epi. Any Discord besides the one I am on already? I don't think so. No, it should be tonight on Epi. No, it's definitely on the Discord we've got. And we will get that out to you Monday. It's a Friday, so it won't be going out tomorrow. But very cool. Congratulations. Thank you all for showing up. I'm very much appreciated. We are doing pizza tonight, I think is what I don't know that we even cook dinner anymore. We just kind of order out all the time. Getting really tired of cooking dinner. Tired of cleaning the kitchen. But I think we're going to do some pizza here in a few minutes. But everybody, that's what I get for doing the dish stream. There you have it. Aird is a great setting. Thanks, Grendel. Very cool. I'm very, 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 very proud of Aird. And, of course, we've got it on World Anvil all over the place. And more stuff coming for it all the time. But thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Very, very much appreciate it. We will see you guys next week at 4, next week on Tuesday, next week at 4 on Thursday, and then Epi is tonight at 7 in the Discord. Join him. I'm going to try to get in there, but I don't think I'm going to make it. It should be maybe next week, but I think he does it every other week. Don't know. Okay. But join us, everybody. Glad, Chuck. I'm glad I got the other one returned to me today, the one they won't take back. So I got a spare mic if anybody needs it. It's not very good, mic, but it's sitting in a box in there. And there you go, Vic. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great evening and a great rest of your weekend, or great weekend. And we will see you next week. Same time. Well, no, different time. 4/4, Thursday. Raffle a mic. That's a great idea. Then I can get it out of here. Maybe we should raffle some of these mugs. I got like 4 of these mugs left. I need them to go. They need to go. Find a new home. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a good evening. Wait, no.